Takarazuka Review Fan Podcast. It's a podcast where fans from around the world get together to talk about Takarazuka. Today's topic is our very beloved and recently retired from the review, Asumi Mirio. And today on the podcast, we have me, Jen, as well as...
Heidi in Philadelphia.
And Lella in Tokyo.
Hey, girls. So, as we get started today, let's talk about the things that are making us happy. And I know Layla was, struggling to narrow it down to one. So I'm going to let you start, because that means you can talk about as many as you want to.
Oh my god. No, okay. I'm just... Yeah, no, many fun things have happened lately, like with Zuka. Okay, well, so I went to Mura recently to go to my girls' ochakai for El Jabon. And it was a really, really great weekend. I got to catch up with my fan club friends, and during the ochakai, my girl pointed and winked at me, which was great.
Yay!
She also pointed and winked at other people, so don't think I'm that special. But she did. She did pick me as one of the people she pointed and winked at, so that was great. And I couldn't go home for the holidays this year, so it was nice to go and see her. And because of how the Keiko lines up for Tokyo, I'm actually going to see her on New Year's Eve as well, so that's great. So I'm spending the holidays with my girl, technically,
I love it, yeah. And that, adrenaline high when they, pick you out to, point or wink or whatever is always, it's the best present.
Yeah.
I mean, there were only, 70 people there. And I say only, but, that's actually quite a big group for her. But
70?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, she's
Nice.
Oh, sorry, I should maybe mention her name too. I don't know. Risu-chan, so that's Kiho Kanata. She's really great. She's in her last Shinko year, so this is going to be her last Shinko show.
Wow.
And she is doing Emma Naoki's role in El Jabon for the Shinko. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a really good role.
Yeah, and if you remember in the Roiba, did I say it properly this time? I don't know.
Close enough.
The Robbers. In the Robbers, she played Herman, and a lot of people on Twitter were super surprised that she was Ken 6 when that show was on, because they're like, who is this Senka person? What's going on? So I really enjoy the fact that she is now doing that role for Shinko, because Emma Naoki is an amazing Senka person. So.
Yeah. I loved that show.
Yeah. Last year of Shinko years, it's always fun to see what they get. That's for sure.
Oh, Suwasaki for her last Shinko is getting the lead role, which is oh my god. So they're dokis. So that's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, Heidi, what's your happy thing?
My happy thing is that we found out recently, just within the last, is it today? I don't know how time works. It was today or yesterday. That Mirio has signed with Canon. Did I say that right? Agency.
Yay!
So yeah, and I think it's some of the first. There are a couple of photos, and I think maybe they're the first ones that we've really kind of seen of her. Officially, quote unquote, since she retired, which is really cute. So yeah, it's very exciting that she has an agency announcement, which is the same one that Amami Yuki is signed to as well. And in one of the articles I read about it, there was a part where she talks about how she's just been mostly kind of relaxing for this past month or so, but then she kind of feels weird or guilty, she feels lazy that she's not doing anything. And I just want to be no, it's okay, Mirio, you don't need to do anything right now. You can have a break, it's fine. And that was just really a fun thing to kind of wake up to. I suppose it was today. I think it must have been today. Anyway. But yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do they have does she have like a webpage on the agency site yet or anything like that?
I didn't look for it, and I didn't necessarily notice in the article if there was one, but I would imagine soon. I also want her to get an Instagram. Please, Mirio.
Oh my god, that would be great.
Well,
that does remind me.
We'll make sure we put some links up in the blog post for everybody.
Another link.
Yeah, definitely.
Shiroki Mirei did start an Instagram recently. She retired with Fairy Tail. And she's taking a trip to New Zealand right now. So that's very exciting. She's Hanagumi Musumeyaku, who transferred in 2015 to Hanagumi, and she's just been a beloved treasure for the past several years, and it was very, 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 very sad that she decided to retire. But yeah, for a while everybody was thinking she might make Musumeyaku, weren't they? Yeah, I think she was a contender for a little bit when she transferred. At least for somebody, I don't know. But yeah, she's grown so much. I actually, kind of as a side note, like, I think one of the first things she was in was Earnest in Love in 2015. And I have to admit, I kind of didn't really like her at first, but she really, really, really grew on me, and I really, really, really just loved her every second she's on stage, especially for the past few years. So it was sad to see her go. But she's been writing in English on her posts, which, like, just short little phrases. Cool. But yeah, she was like, beginning of my journey, and like, I can't remember. Like, here I am, but she went to New Zealand, so I think that's really cute. So
yeah.
Oh, she did the recent Hanayori Dango.
That's right. Yeah, she had the lead for that.
Yeah, and she did like a really great job in that show. Like, super nice. Yeah, so good. Oh, and also the review for that, or not the review, why I'm saying review, but like the finale for that has a Christmas theme, even though it was only in July. So, so now, dear listeners, we have a new Christmas tradition. Like, you have to watch Hanayori Dango on Christmas. I don't make the rules. It's just how it is.
That's really funny. Oh my goodness. So I guess my happy thing is that recently they announced that El Alcon, not to be confused with the recent El
Hapon.
El Alcon, which was a show that Hoshigumi did when Aran-kei was top star, that was an absolute trash fire because it's based on a trash fire manga by a mangaka that I really, really love. But anyway, I never in a million years imagined that they would bring it back, but it's going to be a tour show for Hoshigumi, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to this, as well as kind of sad, because Aran-kei was like the perfect evil villain, hero person, so it's going to be interesting to see it with a different cast, but yeah, excited about that.
That's so funny. That's one of the only, like, pre-Chie Hoshigumi shows I've ever seen.
Kitty
and I think, wasn't that 2008? I think that
7 or 8, I think. Yeah,
I think because I can't remember. That would have, if it was 2007 or 8. I guess it depends when it was in the year, but that would have been like one of Kiki's first Grand Theater shows with Hoshigumi. So, because she got her nickname from Aran-kei. So,
okay. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So anyway, we've got a lot to cover because Asumi was in Takarazuka for a very long time. So in order to try and keep this episode from being absolutely completely crazy, I'm gonna ask you guys some questions to kind of narrow our focus down. And The hope is that we're going to keep it positive, so if I'm asking you to choose between two things and give your reason why, you don't need to like trash something. You just need to say why one thing might be a little bit better. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's a good way to do it.
So we're celebrating. We're not putting down. We're celebrating. But anyway, to start, she actually had her Hatsubutai, her debut in 2003 in the 89th class. So she spent 2 years before that in the Takarazuka Music School. And I guess my first question is, did you hear any stories about her time in TMS? Or do you have any interesting stories or thoughts about any of her classmates before we get started? Heidi, why don't you start?
Yeah, I guess I can't remember a specific story, and I feel bad about it, but I do know that she and Daimon, Nozomi Futo, were roommates.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the first things I actually learned about them. And I know that they were roommates, which is one reason why they're like still really, really good friends. And I feel like there are probably stories that I have heard, but I can't think of any particular one. So, but yeah, because my first show was Elizabeth in 2014. And so like they've always been like that kind of like connected in my head because Daimon did Wukini. But yeah, the 89th class is just such a powerhouse, though. There's so many good ones and so many actresses that like should have ascended but didn't. I guess is the only way I can say it.
Yes.
But I feel very lucky that I have seen several of them. We got the opportunity to see Nanami Hiroki, Kai in Guys and Dolls, and I guess we also saw her in Okunima. And then also the only show managed to see Mirio Rika in Musashi and Krungtrap in the spring, which was her retirement show. So I got to see her just the one time. Which makes me sad, but she's also amazing. So, yeah, just really, really, really good class. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. What do you think, Layla? Any TMS stories or 89th class thoughts?
I don't have any TMS stories because I became a fan of Mirio I became a fan of Takarazuka when she was already top star. So, like, even though I've tried to talk to a lot of Mirio fans and Japanese Mirio fans, it's not been like that far back, unfortunately. But what was it? They had like a little special thing that they recorded with the strawberries. It was Mirio, Daimon, Kai, and Miyaruri. Where they all like met together, and that was when Mirio told Daimon, I think, that she was going to retire. And so Miyaruri was retiring, Kai was retiring, and then Daimon found out that Mirio was retiring. So Daimon, like that day, she found out she was going to be the last one. So that's, pretty big. So that must have been so emotional for all of them. Yeah.
So there's 3 left, right? 3 left now.
Yeah.
Daimon, Kacha, and Musume Aku.
No, sorry, no. I mean, like the last one left out of the 4 of them.
Oh, the 4 of them.
That were in the in the interview. So that was like,
poor Daimon.
Last Takarazuka standing.
Who will be the last 89th? Oh no.
Yeah, I feel bad because I didn't really follow Mirio's past very often. Like I know in a lot of the star books that they get released when they're still like young stars. Sometimes they talk about stories in TMS, but I don't think I ever read any about her. I'll have to go back and find some. And I think of anything, I'll put it in the comments, because I feel like I did read something that happened in TMS, but now I can't remember. So I'll have to see if I can find it.
Yeah.
And if anybody listening knows, like, what section of the school did she clean and all that kind of fun stuff, share it with us in the comments, please, for sure.
Yeah.
My favorite 89th was Sawaki Rizu, which I don't know, probably a lot of the new fans have never heard of her because she retired a while ago, but she was a tsukigumi otokoyaku, and she was an amazing singer. So I went to like all of her like ochanomikai and stuff like that, and it was cute. She was a cutie.
Oh, the first OG I ever met, I say met loosely, like encountered in New York when we went to Chicago, was Renjo Makoto King, and she was there studying when they put on the OG Chicago in New York a few years ago, and she was the first, I think, like OG like I ever spoke to.
Did you see her at the show?
Yeah, she was at the show.
That's cool. I
really
remember
cool.
seeing her.
Yeah, she was. I think actually, someone pointed her out to me, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I like ran over and very awkwardly said hello.
She's probably like, "Why are you talking to me? I wasn't in the show."
No, I think like other fans have been going up to her, like, so I think she was kind of like, maybe not used to it, but like kind of like wasn't super surprised at that point. So, but yeah, oh my gosh, that's so funny.
That's cool.
So I forgot she was anyway. 89's are a good bunch. So.
Yes. I love OGs, like a lot of them stay so friendly to the fans, but they're always like so happily surprised when you say hi or anything, it's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mirio, let's talk, before we talk about her stages, let's just talk about Mirio in general. Like, what is your favorite offstage moment of hers? It could be like a story you heard, or like a magazine interview, or something that she did on Sky Stage, or anything like that. What is your favorite Mirio offstage moment? And Layla, you can start this time, since
I think I know what Lella's gonna say, so I hope she says it.
No, can I say two things?
Of course.
Sorry. It's like the one favorite moment. No, I mean, like, one thing that I always remember is the Forever Alone Mirio, when she's like copying the it's like a dance movement that Nanohana and Ranju Tomu do in a show. I can't remember what the show is called now because I have a terrible memory. But like they do this kind of like they hold their hands together, but like in a very awkward backwards position, and then they like move them apart, but then together, like in a weird kind of circle thing. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No. Is it like from a pair dance?
No, it was like in the show, so not in a review, but like in the show. But it's like a dance. It's like after they've, had fun times, and they're both wearing white. And
okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Is it?
No, I think so. Vaguely, yes.
Is it the poem of Love and Revolution? Maybe.
Why was Mirio always alone? I guess I don't.
No, she was doing. She was trying to explain how they do that movement in an interview, and she was copying it. She was doing both of their hands with her own hands. Just like, she doesn't have her own person to do it with yet,
Oh no.
So I really like that. And then the other thing that I just like love about Mirio is her relationship with her cat, Okoge. Because it's like he's always trying to escape. Like so like I don't know if you've seen photos, like there's one photo that they've got up for sale in QR still, where she's holding Okoge and she's making a sexy face, and Okoge looks like just like about to like jump down.
This cat has the squishiest face. It's orange and fluffy, and it looks so ridiculous. And you can tell she just loves it so much.
Yeah.
I also feel like its name is just very indicative of Mirio's like naming sense, as they say. So it's like, because okoge, doesn't it mean like the burnt rice on the bottom of the pan? Yeah, because it's like that color. So, this is her mindset.
She did say in an interview, well, not in an interview, it was an interview for the like pet special thing. What is that called?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Wanyan
something.
Tobu, Wanyan, or whatever it is.
Yeah. And she was like, well, in my family, we've had other pets before that had similar names. And then she said, and I can't remember what the names were, but it was something like Okaka, like it sounded similar to Okoge. So then she's like, it was like a natural progression of things. Okay, but, I mean, I guess like if you tend to forget what your pet's name is, that would be a good thing.
Aw, poor kitty. Aw.
I mean, she's very like food oriented. I feel is like the kind of like offstage like impression that I always get of her. A lot of actresses will talk about like Mirio and food, or she talks about food a lot herself. So one of the stories that I remember hearing, and again was kind of one of the first ones that I ever heard about, because it was soon after she became top star, and she was during the SMAP interview actually that they went on and did the SMAP performance as a promotion for Elizabeth, and it ended up that who was it? It was Ranohana, Mirio, Daimon, Kiki, and Ray, and they were all in the interview with the SMAP guys, and they're like, oh, well, some of you were late, weren't you? Or something like that. And it turned out that it was Mirio, Ranohana, and Ray were late because they were eating pancakes. And so they were getting to the studio because they were like just enjoying pancakes or whatever. But then she was like, oh, we all really came together, and Ray went out to pay the bill, and like Rano-chan called the car or whatever, and like when we realized we were late, so we all just pulled together and like we got over here or something like that. And it was it's actually, she writes about the event like in one of her photo books, her essay book that came out a couple of years ago as well. So it's clearly something that like it's just I don't know, something she still thinks about a lot. So I thought you were gonna mention that, Lella, because that was in your notes, but
okay.
Yeah, pancakes. But my other kind of favorite moment is in the past couple of years is that one of the things she's been doing, I guess mostly during when Senda Ayase, when Yuki-chan was her partner, during interviews or whatnot, they would do these, she would make them do haikus, and like Mirio loves haikus, I guess. And she's apparently really good at making them, so she would turn it into a game, and like she would say in haiku and about like Yuki, or like, and then Yuki would have to say one about her, except that neither Yuki nor Ray could do a haiku on the fly with the correct number of syllables. So she was always like counting, and she'd be like, oh, you're over, oh, you're under. Like kind of like giving them this immediate feedback of like, no, you did it wrong. Yuki could never do it.
Oh no, it's hard doing it on the fly. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So it was just really, really funny. Those are a couple of the ones that really stand out for me. So.
I think that tells you a lot about their personalities. Like the little things that the fans love is like the things that you remember. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some acting. None of her Shinko leads really left an impression on me, but I still remember, I guess when I first started paying attention to her on stage was like in 2007 when she was doing like the Nibante roles with Masaki. So Like, I remember I didn't see it live, but I saw on like Sky Stage, I saw Higher Than the Sky of Paris, where she played George, and I was just like, oh, I don't know who this person is, but she's cute and she's very energetic.
Aww.
And then I actually saw Magician's Misfortune Shinko live in Tokyo, and she played the Nibante role there, and I was really impressed, actually. I think that was my first like impression that I was thinking, I was like, this is obviously an actress that the management loves, and she's gonna go places because she's pretty talented. So yeah.
I was just gonna say, I heard a story. Another story I heard was that she and Masaki got in trouble for like blinging out their boots, I think, for Shinko too much, because they like got scolded for making their shoes too fancy because they were fancier than the top stars.
Oh, that was Rome at Dawn. I think that was yeah, I heard that too.
I just think
too enthusiastic with the glue gun and the yeah.
Right.
It's funny.
That's so funny.
Okay, so let's talk about those early years. I know both of you weren't really fans of hers then, but you might have seen like clips and things. Is there anything that you've seen in her early Tsuki years before she started getting like the big roles?
I heard this story that when she was still doing bow halls, she put a sticker up on the wall near the makeup section, and then I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, she was talking to someone who was doing a bow hall, and she asked them like, is it still there? And they were like, yes, it's still there.
What sort of sticker? Like a sentence?
In the bow hall. I don't know. I imagine that it would be a butterfly sticker, but I'm not sure.
That's funny.
I think the only thing that I've really seen of her, I guess I don't know if it counts as a large role, but I think one year we stayed with a friend, actually our friend who kind of got us started on this whole insane journey. She was the one who got us our tickets to Elizabeth when the first time we went. We stayed with her when we went back again the next year, and she showed us I can't remember the Takarazuka name for it, but it's basically the Beauty and the Beast show. And where Mirio was like the tiger kind of like guide, I guess. I can't remember specifically like what the character does. I can't even remember if there was a lot of like speaking for that role. I kind of remember it being like mostly silent, yeah. But that was, I don't know, I thought that was really cute in the way that she was still very expressive without speaking, I suppose.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so.
I guess my biggest memories from back then, again, because I was Ryu Masaki's fan, like, as you got into, like, 2008 was when Mirio had her first, like, bow hall lead in Hoffman. And then that was about the time that she and Masaki started getting all these double leads or, like, shared roles and things like that. So, like, Me and My Girl, they switched...
Oh, right. Yeah, I have seen some of that.
Jackie
I forgot about
Sophia
that.
and Gerald, yeah. And I know I have vivid memories from Two Noble Kinsmen, which was one of the Shakespeare bow halls that they did in 2009. And they had a double lead for that. Like, the weather was awful the week that show was running. It was like pouring rain, and it was the best clubwear I ever got. We shared the same clubwear, I think. Both of our clubs combined to get it, so they got a good deal on it, and they were like windbreakers.
Oh, nice.
Like, they were,
That's
it was
cute.
like real clothing, and I still wear it to this day. I know we're not supposed to. I was like, it's a really nice windbreaker.
No, but you're allowed.
And it had like, it had the name of the
gosh.
show like on it and everything. It was really nice. Like, and I just remember it pouring rain every time we had Irimachi and Damachi that whole week. It was probably a typhoon now that I think about
Oh.
I mean, on the one hand, like, at least you had a jacket as opposed to a scarf, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It
Wow.
was like, because usually you get like kind of, I mean, the clubwear is kind of cheap, right? Because they have to make profit off of it to help the actresses. But this is like quality goods. I was like, what is this nonsense? This is where I knew we were going up in the world.
Wow.
No, but you are allowed to use the wear after they have retired.
Yeah. But I was using it. I probably shouldn't admit this. I've been using it for the last 10 years with glee. So,
amazing.
I mean,
oh my god, that was 10 years ago. That's really scary. Yeah, and I loved Prince of the Land of Roses. That was
that's
Beauty
the
and
name
the Beast
of it.
show.
Yeah.
Like that has strong memories for me too, because that was when the earthquake happened.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah.
And I actually ended up going south and staying with a friend because like they were having the rolling blackouts because the power station was down and everything was just getting crazy. So I was kind of like a refugee in Osaka, and I just remember being like, you know what? I'm gonna go see the show.
Yeah.
So
I think my friend had a similar, because she saw it live, and I think she had a similar story in the sense where like it's really emotional for her because like she went to see it and it felt like the actresses were really trying like extra hard to like kind of keep people's spirits up, I think she said.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gosh.
And because originally it had been planned to be like, it was over Golden Week, so they were like, all the little kids aren't going to be going to school, so it was like a show for a family show, you know. That's why they were doing a fairy tale show. And like, and it fit perfectly with everything that was happening. And Mirio was cool. She had a cool role. All the animal roles were really cool. It kind of reminds me of, I went and saw The Lion King the other week, and I actually never seen the musical version, and I was like, that must have been part of their inspiration for it. Because
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
Well, anything that I've missed about those early years and like the double casting leading up to where she starts becoming more of a Nibante? Did I miss anything that you wanted to talk about?
The only thing I can say is that like I have seen the Romeo and Juliet, Tsukikuchi Romeo and Juliet, and that was, I feel like a lot of people talk about the other versions of Romeo and Juliet, such like the Hoshigumi and the Yukigumi ones, but I feel like not as many people talk about the Tsukigumi ones. I don't know, that's just my impression, but that's the one that I know best because like, well, we own it, but it was one of the first like kind of used DVDs that we owned, because, and I thought I really loved her Tibble, and I thought, and also they've got clips of her like her Romeo as well, and I kind of liked that. I feel like that's kind of a good dichotomy in a way of like characters that have also kind of followed her through her career, sort of, in the sense of like the kind of like angsty man pain, broody, rude man, and then like the sort of like sweet, like fluffy, I guess fairy-esque like type like happy protagonist. So that's kind of interesting, and she does a really good job in both. I think I slightly more prefer her Tybalt versus her Romeo, if only because I actually really enjoy Masaki's Romeo. So yeah, I don't know.
That's funny talking about that dichotomy, because she had the same thing with Scarlet Pimpernel, because she had Chauvelin, and then she had Armand, which are, you know, the villain and the innocent. Yeah.
I feel like it kind of flips back and forth. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what do you think, Layla?
Yeah, no, I really like that Romeo and Juliet as well. That was my first Romeo and Juliet, and I had to go and get a Blu-ray player because I wanted to get the version that had both Masao and Mirio as Romeo, so I had to get the Blu-ray because only the Blu-ray had both. Then I had to get a Blu-ray player because obviously
the things we do for Takarazuka.
Right. And now I only get Blu-rays, so there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mirio. But no, I thought that she did a fantastic job, and also it was a show that told us that we should never give Mirio any knives because she's very dangerous and stabby.
Knife-a-kun.
No, I agree. Like there is that like aspect of it. Like she can be like the very angry, angsty. You know, she just like she always seems on stage as though she just encompasses everything that is that person. So when she's Tybalt, she's like bubbling with rage, and then when she's Romeo, there's like only sunshine and happiness. And I really enjoyed that aspect of her acting, that she just encompasses that person so fully. So
yeah. I guess talking about switching between roles, did you all see her different roles in The Rose of Versailles? Like, did you see her Farazan and her Andre and her Oscar?
Yes. Actually, I have seen all
Oh.
those.
Good. So my next question is, which one did you prefer? And it might not be that you thought it was the best. It might just be because you prefer it because of something. But which one do you prefer and why?
I love her look as Oscar.
Okay. Do you mean like the makeup, or?
I just love that wig on her. I think it's amazing.
Okay.
Sorry, that's like a very shallow reason.
No,
I love it.
That is
it's
like
so
gut instinct. Some wigs are good. All right. What about you, Heidi?
I have a complicated answer. I think the role that she plays the best, unfortunately, is Farazan. And I say unfortunately because I find that particular version of Rose of Versailles as dull as paint. I'm sorry to anybody who likes that version, but I do not. And I own two different versions of it.
With a carriage and a whip.
Oh, okay. Except for like that's basically it. Like most of like Mirio's like solo like Farazan scenes are just so, I don't know. I don't like Farazan that much as a character, but like the songs and the like that she has, oh my god. Anyway, so I think she does that role the best. I personally prefer Andre as a character for her to play. I like her with Masaki's Oscar. I have to agree though with Lella. I think she looks the best as Oscar. And I also loved that in her, is it her most recent photo book, or is it Chinatsu's photo book? Someone's photo book recently. It was Mirio's, yeah. Was it hers? Yeah, she did Oscar with Chinatsu as Andre. And
cool.
It's gorgeous. It's so, there's like 2 or 3 of the photos. There's not very many of them, but they're all just so beautiful.
So sorry, wait, I got confused there. All of the Mirio fans bought the Chinatsu photo book because Mirio was in it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like, I remember all of the Mirio fans talking about it and buying it.
It's a really good photo book.
Yes,
like regardless.
Yes. Well, that took a while.
That was very, very clever of Chinatsu to do that.
Hey,
sorry.
I just want to say I agree with everything Heidi says. Yes.
But the Oscar wig is the winner.
Yeah.
So my next question might be a tough question, and I'm asking this because I found in general I tend to like the actresses' roles that they have when they're Nibante more than their roles when they're top stars. I don't know what it is about Nibante roles versus top star roles, but I'm curious what you think about Mirio's time. Like, do you prefer her time as a Nibante, like the roles she had then, or do you prefer her top star era?
Oh, I have a thing to say about this, which is that while I do say that I prefer Mirio's top star era, I've been watching a bunch of stuff with her as Nibante with Ranji Tomu, and I do love the dynamic they have of like Mirio getting these looks from Ranjitomu, which are like, you know, that attention, like, because I normally see it as Mirio focusing that attention on other people, but I love seeing that attention being focused on her by someone else. Like, I really love that dynamic. Like, when Ranjitomu just, like, throws her this, like, saucy look, you know, just like, this I love you kind of thing. I just really love that. And then in Mr. Swing, in the Senshiraku, Mirio like throws Ranjitomu a kiss on the Ginkyo, and it's like, oh, yes. Right. And it's just like I really love that dynamic between the two of them. But I would still say that I Mirio's top era is what I have enjoyed the most. I think basically because I've been here to see it, maybe.
Yeah. How about you, Heidi?
I have to agree, basically wholesale agree with that. Again, mostly because like I've been around for top era. I regret that I think we own Mr. Swing and its accompanying show. I think I've maybe watched it once. No, Mr. Swing I've seen several times because it's a fantastic review. It's definitely one of my favorites. But the play, which we have mentioned earlier already in this podcast, the name already escapes me. I think I've seen like once. So I feel bad that I haven't, but now I'm interested, Lella. Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch it and that because I feel like I haven't really seen too many of her like particular like Nibante specifically shows. But yeah, I still think that what's really been meaningful for me is because we became fans, like again, like with her Ohiromeko, and like watching the progression of her as a top star has been really, really special. So I definitely would have to say that.
That's cool. And you guys hijacked my next question, which was, did she have any chemistry with Ranjitomu? So that question.
Sorry, didn't mean to do that.
No, that's awesome. I love it. So I guess, so we don't skip it or miss it, I wanted to ask, did you have any memories of any of her small theater shows, like Bauhaus things or Chunichi or anything like that, national tours? Any of her smaller theater shows that you're like, oh yeah, I don't want to forget to talk about this show.
Yeah, so there is Spring Snow, so Haru no Yuki. And while I'm the type of person who likes a positive, upbeat, happy show, all of the Mirio fans always recommended me this show, and I didn't watch it for ages and ages because it was like, yeah, this is going to be depressing. And I was right. And I did not enjoy the show as much as other Mirio fans did, but I can also see why people who were fans at that time would absolutely be mad for this show. But it wasn't my type of show. But I feel like it should be mentioned in an episode about Mirios.
Now, not to give away plot or spoiler or anything, but it was a Nihon mono set in like the early 1900s, is that right? Spring Snow? Or is it Meiji era?
I think it's Meiji era.
Oh, okay.
Because like they have Western clothes, but they also have a lot of Japanese clothes.
Right, that's why I was thinking it was like Meiji era right after it. I couldn't remember, but
so I'm not sure. But yeah, and it's with Sakihi Miyu, and they do a really great job. And I really like the clever, like they've got these two set pieces that move together, and they create like a cart, like, or it can be a train wagon, or it can be like a horse-drawn cart, I'm not sure, but you can sit next to each other there, and then like it splits apart, and then they go to like different sides of the stage, and it's really cool how they like bring it together and then split it up, and I really like that aspect of it. And I heard a story about like when Mirio and Miyu were going to do like their kiss on that set piece, like it was quite awkward. I can't remember who said it, but that it was quite awkward for them to do that. But I think the reason that I didn't like it as much as I had hoped was that in the beginning, Mirio's character is a bit of a terrible person, and I don't understand why Miyu's character would even put up with that. I'm just like, no, girl, don't let a man treat you that way.
You don't have time for that.
exactly, right? But it's a fan favorite, definitely. Among the Mirio fans. So.
I feel like now that you've mentioned it, I do kind of remember that one. But though I guess I've only seen it live. One, we saw a tour, Romanesque Mask, the first version, in Saitama. It was Romanesque Mask and Melodia, in Saitama in 2016. And actually it was more of a funny story with that one, was because we had to get secondhand tickets, and the theater I think must somehow like double sold our seats or something, because we had like balcony seats. And it was a little strange at first, because we sat down, and then an usher came up and was like, no, actually you need to come over here. And I was like, weird, like a little freaked out, because like, oh no, or did we have like fake tickets or something like weird like that. But it was a bunch of us were like kind of sitting over in this little like lobby area outside the doors, and then they took us all down to the first floor. And what they had done is they had set up chairs behind the first section on the first floor, and so we ended up with better seats, but also they did so we did better seats, but also they did kyakusekyori, so where they came out to the audience during Melodia, and so ended up we were basically like in that very last row, like right in front of where the actresses were, because they came out behind us for that part of the show, which was really, really fun. And I don't know, Romanesque Mask is a fine show, I guess. I like it, but it's definitely not like one of my superb favorites, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Now that's based on. It's based on. What's it based on? It's based on that play, right?
Yes.
I can't think of it.
It's set in France, like every other young Western Takarazuka.
But I feel like they made a movie like that was based on the same thing.
It's basically the basic plot is that like the main guy like has this woman he's trying to go after, and she like basically challenges him to go seduce this other woman before she'll get with him, and then I won't say
there it is.
but
Dangerous Liaisons.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. It's got a French name, but I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it. But
and everyone is a terrible person.
Fine show. Yeah, basically, except for the woman that he's trying to seduce, and the guy that she is, I think, supposed to be marrying. Anyway, there's like one nice guy and one nice girl. So everybody else is terrible. But yeah, no, but mostly I think Melodia was a really fun part of that for me. It's really it was a fun show. We actually saw the Grand Theater version of that as well before we saw that one. So anyway,
cool.
That was fun.
All right.
Oh, one more thing. Sorry, don't want to make it super long, but Alice's lover, Alice no Koibito, is also like a big bow haul for Mirio, and she did that one with Chappi. It's super duper fun. Like one of my favorite things from Alice no Koibito is when they sing a song that's like a nice tea party, because I always mishear it as nasty party. And I'm just like, oh. I'm intrigued.
What kind of party are you guys having? my goodness.
But
that's
like either way, it would be a great time with Mirio there, I'm sure. It's a really fun show. Other highlights are Shimon Yuria as the Hatter and Chinatsu as the dormouse that's always sleeping. It's very, very cute. And it's a really fun show. So go watch that, guys. It's good. Yeah.
I've been saving it because it's the only show with Sawaki Rizu that I haven't watched yet, so I'll have to go and watch it.
Ernest in Love by far and away is one of my very favorite shows she's ever done. And I didn't see it live either time, unfortunately, but it's one of those shows that I watch when I'm sad. Because it just makes me feel, it just is always, everything is just so fun and happy and exciting. It's a funny show. It's so like expressive. A little meta. It's just such a fun, like upbeat, like pure show. So
yeah. Okay. Just because I don't want us to get too crazy, let's start in general. Pick a top musumeyaku partner that you liked the best or that you have a memory of. For some reason, pick one and tell us why you picked that partner out of Rano Hana, Kano Maria, Sena Ayase, or Hana Yuki.
Do you want to go first?
And I will be mean and say you have to pick one.
Mirio is blessed with so many wonderful and lovely partners. I think I'm gonna have to say Yuki-chan.
Okay.
Because she's just amazing. I mean, they're all amazing in their own way, but Yuki, I feel like, was kind of, in a way, like Mirio's like personal pick in a sense, because she inherited, for lack of a better word, Rano Hana, who is also amazing, and then Kano-chan was also really wonderful. I enjoyed her a lot as well, but Yuki, I think, was just really special, and it's just super rare to have a musumeyaku kind of, these days anyway, like that quote-unquote old become top star, and it did really, I think, kind of seem like Mirio like decided to choose her. So they just get on so well. They're really, I feel like, similar in a way because they're both super goofy, and they like really kind of played off of each other very well, obviously on stage, but also like off stage, and they just had like really lovely chemistry together. And Yuki's just super, super sassy, and she I'm sure I've talked about Sante 500 million times on this podcast, even though we've never done a Sante episode, but it is an amazing review, and I have many feelings about it, and in large part is because it was Yuki's debut, like Grand Theater debut show, and it's just so good and perfect. And a lot of it is because she's good and perfect. So
Sena Ayase was top of her class.
Yes, she's so good.
So like just she's got the star power already there, and I just really liked her in combination with Mirio. Like they had a really fantastic thing going. Like it felt like they were able to support each other as equals somehow. Which I really, really liked. And she's an amazing singer, and she's just extraordinarily beautiful. I could stare at her for hours. I've been rewatching Beautiful Garden this morning, and it's just Yuki in hot pants in that. It's Wonderful number is just like so delightful. Like I squee every time I see her coming up on the screen. I'm just like, yay, there she is. Yay. So great. Just love her a lot.
We were watching Delight Holiday before we did this podcast. And there's just so many cute little like anecdotes sprinkled throughout like the show. And Yuki mentioned one about how they went to Sky Stage, I think, as part of another story about Rei's birthday. I don't know if they were there for Rei's birthday or if they just not Skytree, Skytree, sorry. They went to Skytree in Tokyo, and she like saw these little earrings, because she likes like miniature things, and I didn't catch what they were miniature of, but anyway, they were these tiny little earrings that she saw, and she liked them, and she like mentioned them to Mirio, and this is also to kind of feed into the idea that like if you tell Mirio something like, oh, I like to like your favorite food, or like something like she mentioned to her like she saw these earrings that she really liked, like Mirio will remember that. She's got such a good memory. And so on White Day, Mirio had found and bought the earrings and gave them to her. It was so cute. So like you can really tell like how much she loves her. And I think that's also reverberated throughout the whole troop as well.
Yeah. I mean, Mirio has an extreme fondness for all of her partners, and back when Kanomaria was her top musume, one of the things I heard was that she gets like extremely super happy whenever someone praised Kano-chan.
Aww.
So like she has that aspect of her that she's very protective of everyone, and like she forms like really deep connections with people, and she just has that, you know, loving, protective aspect to her that just I love that about her. She's so I'm sure she has like really loved and enjoyed being with all of her top musumes. I mean, my favorite would also be Sanayase, but one of the things with Hanayuki is actually like, so the most recent one, who is now Kare's top partner, is that like their chemistry on stage, I mean Mirio's and Hanayuki's, is that like it feels to me like, here's the nice uncle who's here to love you and take care of you. You know, it's like a very protective kind of chemistry that they've got, which is extremely lovely. And I enjoyed seeing that as well.
Yeah.
It's not surprised. The same type of chemistry.
Right.
But it's just very lovely.
Yeah. I have more thoughts about that, but we can talk about it later if we talk a little bit about Fairy Tail, because I have thoughts about Fairy Tail.
We'll come to Fairy Tail, I promise. All right. So again, I know there's so many shows to talk about, but I'm going to have each of you in just like 1 minute pick the show that you like the most for plot, and then another show that you like the best for like costumes, and a show that you like the best for the songs or the music.
Okay.
So like a minute for each.
Are we talking
do speed? What's that?
Are we talking plays or reviews or out of everything ever?
Everything of her top stardom era.
Oh gosh.
Anything out of her top stardom era.
Okay.
Thinking mostly like the Grand Theater shows.
Yeah.
To narrow it down.
Okay. Go ahead.
Wait. So for music, I'm gonna go with Sekkasho.
Okay.
Because it's just delightful from beginning to end. It's a Nihonmono review, and it's absolute perfection. Like there is nothing that you should or could change about Sekkasho. It's a masterpiece. It's
amazing.
So great.
Okay, so Sekkasho for music. Okay.
For plot, oh my gosh! Well, it's not going to be Hana's Florist. Sorry, I was like, oh god, it's a toss-up. It's either Casanova or Golden Desert. Konsaba.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's really interesting. Okay.
I guess I'll have to go with Casanova because everyone is a terrible person in Konsaba, and that's it. Well, not everyone's a terrible person. Well, Mirio is a nice person, then she turns into a terrible person, and Kano-chan's princess is kind of a terrible person throughout.
There's
So
only
I guess
3 good people in that
yeah,
show.
So I guess I'll go with Casanova just because they're wonderful people, and it's Casanova. Come on.
Okay, good. What about for costumes? So this is a hard question in Takarazuka.
Anything from Sante. Okay, there we go.
Sante.
Sante?
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh,
so Sante.
best review costumes on the face of the planet. Yeah.
Alright. So how about you, Heidi?
Mine's going to be very similar, but slightly different.
Okay.
So for plot, I am going to pick Golden Desert because it's a masterpiece, even if people are terrible.
Okay.
It's just it's so different, I feel, from a lot of the shows that we see in Zuka, in the sense that, like, usually the top star plays, like, you know, the hero or whatever, but Guy's kind of like an anti-hero in a way. He's, again, a terrible person. I don't think he was ever really good in the beginning, except maybe when he was a kid. But yeah, like, people just, like, the characters themselves aren't really, like, the main characters aren't really redeemable, and it's like, not uncomfortable, but, like, not a, like, frou-frou love story. It's, like, kind of, like, they're bad for each other, and they still, you know, they do terrible things to each other, but it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of grittier, I suppose. And, like, gritty doesn't necessarily always mean better, but, like, just the way that it's done, like both Mirio and Kanotang, like, do such an amazing job, like, acting, especially, like, against each other. And then you've got kind of the direct contrast with them, with Kiki and Beichan doing Jer and Beichan's princess, and just everybody has, like, it's a great, like, kind of ensemble cast show as well. So
awesome.
Yeah, so I love that a lot. I also love the costumes in that, but I'm not gonna pick that one for costumes. I think I'm gonna pick, oh god, I would say Sekasho, which is also perfect, but I think I'm gonna go with New Tale of Genji, which has a similar, I mean, it's similar, like, Nihon Mono, like, vibe. That one just, we saw that live, and I have, like, very vivid memories of, like, the chompa with the lights going up, and then everybody's there, and it was just really, really beautiful to see. But music, Casanova. 100% Casanova.
So one of you picked Casanova for music, and one of you picked it for plot. So I'm guessing this is a show to watch. Yes.
We did a whole 3-hour podcast on it. Jen, do you want to listen?
Like, they're really well rounded, all of them. Yes. But it was like to get as many different shows in, you know, we would just
right? I get you. All right. Before we get to her final show, are there any other top star shows that you'd like to spend, like, a minute or two talking about that we haven't had a chance to yet?
Poe.
Okay.
It was a really good show, and I liked the music, and I liked the vampires, and it was all very delightful. And one of my favorite things that had me, I was laughing so hard in the theater. I mean, I was laughing quietly, but my chair was shaking. So, but there's that moment where it's towards the end, when they've got that little, what do you call it? It's like a crane, like they go up into the air and then they swoosh about a bit.
A crane, sure.
It is a crane. It is a crane, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so Mirio and Kare are standing on this teeny tiny platform, and this is the part where Mirio bites Kare to make her into a vampire as well. And it's so small and so awkward, and they have to do it from, like, this really, like, sideways kind of angle, and then they're standing in the air and they're, like, holding on to each other, like they're terrified that they're gonna fall down onto the audience. And, like, I mean, they're not over the audience, they're, like, orchestra pit maybe, but, like, when you see like thinly veiled panic in their eyes, and it's just like, I thought it was so funny.
It's probably pretty high up.
And I mean, like, it's like it's still like they're putting on a good show and being sexy, sassy vampires, even at that point. But it's no, I really enjoyed Poe. I thought it was a good show.
Cool. How about you, Heidi? Anything?
Yeah, my only other shout outs would be brief shout out to me and my girl, which is God, I wish I could have seen that live, because I think it was basically Mirio just like trolling her entire troupe every single day in different ways and finding different ways to like try and get them to slip up and crack with all of her ad libs. Again, that's another show that I like watch if I'm feeling like sad, because it never fails to make me laugh or make me smile. And I just love that she's able to kind of bring some of her like natural silliness like to the role. You can tell that she has such a good time with it. And then I feel like I would be super remiss if I didn't say anything about Elizabeth, which everybody is going to have their opinion on which one is the best, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, this is mine. But I still also feel like this cast is just so solid, because if you go through, like, there are so many people who, like, went on to be top star just in the main, like, central cast, I guess, because you've got, like, some, like, people who are either have been top star or are eventually going to be top star or are just now recently becoming top star or anything like that. Like, it's so full of so many like really, really strong people. And then it's just also, I just have like such a vivid memory seeing that show and experiencing Takarazuka for the first time and being like, holy crap, in the harmony of their voices and Hanagumi's chorus, because they're just so strong, was just so powerful to experience. And I think it's perfect. You don't have to agree with me. That's fine. You're wrong. But I think it's perfect. So, not to say that anybody else doesn't do a good job, but it's my favorite. So,
I would also like to say about Elizabeth, Mirio's Elizabeth, that I was in another podcast episode about that Elizabeth. So, all of the things I want to say have been said. But also I wanted to mention like the absolute power of Mirio in that show, is that I was showing some Takarazuka stuff to a coworker the other day, because I've got like the Mirio calendar on my desk, of course I do, and we were chatting about it, and I was like, she's like, wait, what? This is a woman? And I was like, yes, of course it is. Let me show you some clips. And I showed her the Franz Josef and Elizabeth and Toto song, the end of the first act. I showed her that. Yeah. And I'd kind of forgotten how majestic that song is. Like, if you're not, if you're new to this, like, I was like, I'll show you a good clip. Powerful. But it was like, I could see on her face when she was going like, you know, I could see her becoming a Takarazuka fan right in front of me, you know. So I'm gonna work on that after the winter holidays. Yeah.
Yes. Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, whenever I want to like introduce new people to Takarazuka, I usually pick Elizabeth, because it's something we've seen so many times and we know really well, so it's easy to explain to people, especially if they don't speak Japanese. But I always pick that one.
Yeah,
and it's just so impressive.
It's very relatable, I think.
Yeah,
especially to Western audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay. Because I know you guys have a lot to say about her final show.
Wait, can I just say? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so we already mentioned Beautiful Garden and Delight Holiday, but I have to say, like, Beautiful Garden is such a Hanagumi review. basically, when I was talking to other Hanagumi fans who were watching it as well, we were just basically saying over and over to each other, it's so Hanagumi, it's so Hanagumi. So like if you're a Hanagumi fan, or if you want to become a Hanagumi fan, this is like a fantastic show to watch. It's just, it's wonderful. Even people who have some issues with the writer, or what? No, that's not the director. Is it the director? Yeah, of the review, are because they're like, oh, the Asumi yakus don't get the attention they should get. Even people who are like that think that Beautiful Garden is an amazing show. So like Beautiful Garden is like great to watch. And then Delight Holiday is just absolute perfection.
It's delightful.
It is delightful. It is a delightful holiday, and it was during the holiday season. It was in the Maihama Amphitheater, which is right nearby Disneyland. So there was, like that kind of it's a wonderful world type of feeling in the air as well, of course. And it was the first time that they'd done something with a stage that looked that way. So in the amphitheater, what happens is that, you see it from different angles. So you're going to get a different experience of the show depending on where you are sitting, which is quite interesting to me. It was the same thing with the arena show, but with the amphitheater, like the stage protrudes out into like where the audience is sitting, and then you sit kind of around them. And so depending on where your seat was, you would see it from a different angle, which was really cool. And it was just such a good show. It felt very interactive somehow, like you were really close to them, even though you were, in the last row, which I was. But it was, it's really, really good show. And I felt like we really got to see more of Sena Ayase in that show than we had before. So I was very, very happy with that. And it was Christmas time. It was just lovely. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry. I just wanted to get that in there.
No, of course. Of course. All right. So the final year was this year, of course. She had Casanova, which we've talked about a little bit, and she had her arena show, and then of course there is Fairy Tale Charm. So, what would you like to mention about those things?
Heidi, dozo.
I wasn't sure what to expect from Fairy Tale because, to be honest, it looked so different from like literally everything else that she had ever done. Especially like the promo images and like the makeup and the blue and I don't know, it was just I had no idea what to expect. I really loved the show, loved the play, because it had this really, and I know some people didn't really like it for various reasons, which are valid. There are certain criticisms that you could make, but I really liked that while Mirio was on stage a lot, even if she wasn't necessarily doing a lot, and she doesn't necessarily move, like she's the main character sort of in a way, but like she's not the one that's moving the story along. Like she's more observing a lot of what happens in like the story and everyone else and like what people are doing on stage. And I kind of liked the idea that she's like kind of, in that sense, she's like sort of watching the troupe like tell the story, and she, when it's time for her to do her fairy thing, she does. It just kind of felt like she was just very present with everybody, which I kind of really liked for a Taidon show. And it was just a very, very sweet story. I feel like I cried a lot. I feel like I would have cried even if it wasn't her last show. So it was just very sweet. I don't know, like, I don't want to get into explaining all what it's about necessarily, because I feel like that would just take way too long, but it just has this really nice message of like, I don't know how to explain it. Just kind of like this really pure, sweet, like sentimental love, in the sense of like things will change, but you know, my fondness or my love for you will endure in a way. And just because of the way, I don't want to give like plot away necessarily, but just because of the way that's set up within the story, it almost felt like she was kind of saying these things, like she was saying them to Hanayuki's character, but it also kind of felt like it was a message for her fans as well, I thought. And I just thought that was really, really sweet. So yeah. Lella, what did you think?
I have to say, I only saw this show once, so I don't remember too many things. It was a combination of not having money at the time when tickets needed to be bought, and then also it being ridiculous in terms of how many people wanted to go and see it.
Yeah.
So I was happy I did get to see it all, to be honest.
We were in the same we were in the same show, we just didn't know it.
Yeah. That was the stupidest thing, right?
Yeah, we had touchy-me seats, I think, and then you had your ticket on the first floor, and we didn't even know it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I think that part of my I think I'm in denial, like that, oh, Mirio hasn't left us, Mirio is like still going strong kind of thing, because I couldn't get myself to like go for the Raku tickets or anything. Like I was like, no, I can't do this. She means too much to me. So I think that I'm still living in my little Mirio bubble, and I'm probably not gonna fully understand that she's not in Zuka anymore until I see, you know, the first Hanagumi show without her. I think that's going to be the time when I just start crying and be like, where is Mirio? Where is she?
This is wrong. Where's Mirio?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, so I didn't cry during the show. Because I couldn't like get myself to comprehend the fact that it was going to be the last time I saw her with Hanagumi. Like, it just does not make sense. It doesn't compute. So I didn't cry, but I thought it was a very sweet show, as you said. Yeah, and I guess it kind of has that aspect of she's like seeing them off, sending them off into the future. There is also that little clip that I'm sure many people have seen where Mirio like stands behind Kare and then like pushes her to like go off into the future kind of thing. And I think that this whole show has that kind of aspect to it. Like Mirio is kind of just like pushing them into the future. So that's very nice. And of course, because I love her, I have to mention Tatsuki Mio. She doesn't get a lot of stuff to do in this show, but, you know, she's just delightful. And I could spot her all the time, so I'm very happy about that. Everyone was great. Yeah. But I felt like some people kind of blended together in terms of character. There's a big group of people that are botanists, and they're kind of... I mean, I think it's also the fact that I only saw it once, and you know, it kind of blends together for me that way. But they did seem like they weren't all that different in terms of character. So that was a little bit sad for those actresses, because you know you want all of them to shine, of course, but I
think that's the sad thing with a top star tied-on show. Like, they've gotta give all that attention to the top star who's retiring, so it's hard to
but even in the way, again, like kind of the way that the show is done, because Mirio is like a fairy who enlists Rei to help her find this girl that she fell in love with years ago or whatever, is that she's invisible to when she's visiting Rain with her little fairy posse, like they're invisible to the other people in the botany laboratory or what have you. So like she's there and they're there, so that other people can kind of come on stage. But yeah, unfortunately, like that group of people, like there are certain actresses that I could pick out, like Kazumi Sho and Yunami Kei, but there are a couple others I was like, wait, where was this person? And I like had to kind of go back and look and be like, oh, okay, they were in there, but for some reason I couldn't quite pick them out as well, because yeah, they just weren't really defined. But there just wasn't a lot of room for various people, unfortunately, within this particular show. But it was still, I don't know, the overall like
the mood
plot,
of the
like,
show.
The mood, yes, that's the
or
word.
The atmosphere.
The mood was very good. Yeah. Yeah. Even though Ueda Keiko doesn't do her research and conflated Sherlock Holmes and Charles Dickens. So she had this detective character who is supposed to be Sherlock Holmes, but is called Charles Dickens, even though on the set it says Baker Street. And he's very obviously a detective, but then Mahito goes on this whole like thing about how like, oh, I've read your books, I'm such a fan, and it's like, no, this is not the figure you were going for. So anyway,
funny.
It was weird.
This wasn't Hanayuki's first show with her though, right? That was Love Arena.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah. Oh.
How was their chemistry?
Yeah, no, that's what I was remembering. I was trying to
I know we talked about it a little bit, but
she was a lot better than I expected, which is not necessarily to like not Kanayuki, because I saw her Shinko for Yamataikoku and I thought she was good. But she was better than I expected for A, the situation she was in, and also B, just like how young she is, I guess. In the sense that, like...
Which is funny, because she's Ken 6, which is actually kind of old these days.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I know.
What? That doesn't sound right at all. Okay, never mind. Scratch that. That makes a lot more sense now. Anyway, but no, I thought she was great, and I was really impressed with the way that, she kind of, like, was able to match up with Mirio in the sense of, like, her presence and everything else as an actress. And... they have this, again, kind of really pure, sweet, protective, like dynamic that that Lella mentioned earlier, and I thought it was really good. I thought she did a great job progressing her character throughout the story. So
I was extra impressed by how she portrayed the character as a child and then as an old woman. Like, I thought that was really impressive that she was able to do that. Yeah, so that was
it's
really good
kind of like a reversal of Elizabeth in a way, because it's a very similar, like, you've got this sort of like fairy-ish mystical character that's like fallen in love with a girl at a young age, and then kind of death follows Elizabeth throughout her life, whereas Edu like loses track of this girl. But it kind of parallels that really, really well, in the sense that, like, you've got this kind of like harder, more awful sense of Elizabeth because her life is so hard, and there are troubles within what is her name? Charlotte, within Charlotte's life as well. But it's just such a sweeter version, like parallel, like sweeter version with a somewhat happier ending in Fairy Tale. So it was an interesting way to like start with Elizabeth and end with this, I guess.
Oh,
yeah.
So,
now that you say it, I see it.
Right? Yeah. So Charm was amazing. Just to kind of move this along, I love Charm. I love the mood of the theme song was just so like, it's, I don't know how to say it, but it's just like a really good like minor. Not, it wasn't in a minor key, but like kind of felt like it was a little bit darker in a way, but in an upbeat. It's so hard to explain. It's great. So, but yeah, I loved it. There are some parts of it I was a little confused by. Like I didn't really understand like how Kata is like a zombie hunter survival, like post-apocalyptic vibe. Like there was a couple times where I was like, this feels very Hoshigumi to me, but like for some reason, but I think it's just because Hanagumi, I haven't seen Beautiful Garden, so like this is, I feel like maybe it comes a little bit from that, but like there are the times where they had the kind of like the more streetwear, which I associate more with Hoshigumi style reviews than I do with Hanagumi most of the time. So I was like a little thrown off at first by that, but it was fun. So
cool. Did either of you see the arena show?
I did.
No.
Yeah, I was there on Mirio's birthday.
Oh,
so I was very happy to be there on her birthday, but I did have a ticket that was in the like section that's further away, and when you're that far away, you really can't see anyone on stage, so you rely on just the screens. So just for future reference, people, if you're not gonna have a good ticket, you might as well just like watch a live stream or something. Like it's the same, but the tickets are cheaper to watch a live stream.
I was wondering about that because I was like, it's a huge arena, and I know from going to like rock concerts and stuff, all you really see is the screen.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And I saw they were doing the live broadcast, so I was like, wait a minute.
But I mean, I was extremely happy to be there in person because it was Mirio's birthday, and I was like, you know, so I was there for her, which is great. Yeah. And I mean, I went with my friend, and like we had a ride of a time. It was great. But you know, just in case you are going to one of those shows, like don't get disappointed if you can't see them. Like,
right. Yeah. Was the whole arena actually full?
Yeah. Oh my god, it was sold out. Sold every time, and I think they only had 3 shows or something.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Huh. So
well, good for them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. No, it was good. And Hanayuki, bless her, she was terrified. Like she actually looked like she was shaking at one point because it's a lot of people. Like I think 17,000 people can fit into that arena. That's not crazy. What they're used to. No. So like even if you've become top Musume and you're used to an audience of 2,500, like that's not 17,000. Like so she did a great job. But like she was very, very nervous. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Poor darling.
Oh, I remembered. Sorry, I'm bouncing back to Charm. There's a bit kind of after the prologue, where Mirio is alone and she does like an ad lib, and it's this really cute kind of like bubbly like theme. And she comes down into the audience. She still does a little bit of. She's like, "Oh look, there's stairs. Oh, I'm gonna go down the stairs," and she'll interact with the audience in a couple of different ways. And the first time we saw it, she did high touch with everyone in the front row. So she was just like high-fiving, like high-tenning everybody. Like as she goes down, she sings her little song, and she was like, "All right, well today I'm doing high touch," and like it was really, really cute. The second time we saw it, I think Lella, this is the time that you were there because I remember it being her kaisoken. Mm-hmm. So like the entire balcony basically was her fan club, which was really, really fun. So she like basically gave them a lot of love that way, and then she did the bump where she does the Hanagumi pose, which was really cute. And then the last time we saw it was Masaki was there. And yeah, she said congratulations to her, and I didn't understand why at the time. But it was because she had just announced she was getting married.
Right.
So, it was like, oh, I'm getting married and I'm gonna go see Hanagumi. Goodbye. So it was like 3 like really fun moments. So
yeah, cool. Yeah, for anybody who's listening who doesn't know, Kaisoken is basically when the fan club gets a whole block of seats together and wears their club wear and goes and acts crazy.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh.
So. Yeah, cool. All right, so So I guess looking towards the future, we talked about she's been picked up by an agency that's the same one that has Amami Yuki, who does a lot of TV shows and things. But what are you hoping to see her doing in the future? Like, is there anything you're like, oh, I'd love it if she did this thing?
She loves performing. She has said before that it's like getting an intravenous drip.
Intravenous drip.
Intravenous.
An IV drip.
Yes. Okay. Like performing to her is like getting an IV
what
drip.
that joke was. That's right.
Yeah.
Didn't she say that?
So, and she was like looking around at people, being like, "Yeah, performing is like doing this," and everyone else is looking at her like, "No, not really, but you do you, I guess."
That was for Hana's Florist, wasn't it?
I can't.
Didn't she do that during? Because like Kiki was there making fun of her.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just remembered that.
But so I mean, I hope that we can still see her performing, and she is having some kind of get together with her fans, but you can only go and see that if you're in her club, which I'm not. So guess I'm out. So I don't know exactly what that is about, but she's having something with her club, so they've not disbanded yet. Who knows what is going to happen? But I think, especially with this new agency and everything, like she's going to go for it. And Amami Yuki's been in both shows and she has been in TV shows, right? So she's doing both theatre and TV stuff. And has she done films as well, or is it mainly dramas?
I think it's mainly dramas.
But anyway, we've seen a lot of Amami Yuki, so I mean, I have high hopes for Mirio. And her cat as well.
Yeah, I would also really love to, I obviously want her to keep acting. I'd love her to do some more musicals and everything else. But I think it would be fantastic if she did some TV and or film. I think that would be incredible. Yeah, I hope she does some concerts too. Like,
yeah.
She's just a fantastic performer, and she's like a great singer, and obviously like she's done a couple of concerts like this time around. But I think it's also kind of interesting that she's kind of a music nerd as well, because part of Delight Holiday is they go through like they have this whole like thing where they go through and they sing songs from all of Heisei era. Like some of the top like most like popular like pop songs through all of the Heisei era, which it's just so great because she just has like all these songs that she really loves. So I think she would be really cool if she did some kind of like some music. So maybe, I don't know, if original
maybe
stuff.
release an album or something.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe she.
That'd be cool.
I want her to do a thing with Kai.
Oh yeah.
Kai's doing all kinds of cool stuff. So
and Mirio.
I want her to do a thing with Mirio, yeah.
Yeah.
Do an 89th reunion or something.
And Tazo as well.
Yeah.
So many people she needs to collaborate with. And then I was like, oh my god, it would be amazing to see her as Elizabeth or something. But then I think about what she said at the Ochikai for Sante. You know, in Sante, how she has like this black dress on, and
black
it was like,
dress or the disco ball dress.
Yeah, it's very sparkly.
Yeah. The mirror
and
dress.
She was asked about that at the Ochikai because like she has curves in that dress. And people were like, oh my god. And she's like, I had nothing to do with that. Do not, like, no. That wasn't me.
Don't get used to it.
So I'm kind of like, oh my god, is she, like, would she be willing to do, like, really feminine roles? Or would she prefer not to do that? Like, I'm excited about the future. Because there are so many things that we are now going to discover, I think. Hopefully. Yeah. And I would love to see her like as Elizabeth as well, but like you never know. You might not.
I'd be so curious to see what type of OG she becomes. Like, is she gonna stay like Otoyaku-esque for a while, or is she gonna like transition to more like feminine, or how is she gonna be? I'm so curious. So.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, both of you, for sharing all your Mirio stories and thoughts. It was fun.
Yeah.
I really haven't been following her at all since I came back from Japan, so it's cool to hear about her Top Star era.
Yeah.
Definitely.
She's been so good. Like, I feel like you can really kind of see the progression from, like, Elizabeth through to, you know, like, Casanova and Fairy Tale. Like, she's so strong, but, like, she's just become so powerful. Mm-hmm. It's really amazing. It's so amazing. So, yeah.
It's cool. It's very cool. I hope all our listeners, if you've got any other cool anecdotes or stories or thoughts, please share them with us in our blog.
Yeah, and if you have any memes that you want to remember, like Mirio on a pile of money, Mirio and pancakes, and then Mirio with the hollow legs is another classic.
Oh, where does she store her voice?
Right.
In her hollow legs.
Yeah.
So powerful. Mm-hmm. And a really great human.
Many thanks to Michael B. and the Arcanum String Quartet for their wonderful arrangement of Sumire no Hana Sakugoro. And thank you, listeners, for enjoying our podcast.